Well, hello again. Not very much to report this week either. The steaming pile that is the ET is here. Piffle Peddlers continues to steam, and I thought that Elizondo talking about the green orbs in his lounge, in his house, might have been caused by the methane being generated by all the bullshit around his house. To be perfectly honest, I don't believe it. I think it's a lot of crap. I don't think Elizondo believes it either, if you look at the expressions on his face. You know, Gary Nolan's the same when he's talking about his ETs in his bedroom for weeks on end. He sort of looks incredulous himself, you know. Just before I press record on the camera, there was a kookaburra. And they make a great sound, the kookaburras, so I'm hoping we get the kookaburra in the background. Got the usual birds, of course, twittering away, but you don't hear the kookaburras very often. They're the ooh, 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 they sound a bit like a high-pitched monkey sort of sound, the kookaburras. It's a very good, nice sound. So I've said it before, I think Elizondo used to watch the kids' programme Chocky when he was a kid. Do you remember that? Chocky, the kid with the green orb in his bedroom, and it sort of enters his head. Green orbs in the house? Not a chance, no. And apparently these occurred on multiple occasions, and he never recorded it, and he never researched it. He just went, "Oh, there's a green orb in the corner of the lounge," you know. So I think, you know, if there was a green orb appeared in my lounge, I'd at least go and stick a pin in it, you know, see if it went bang. See if it was somebody's party balloon that had come adrift from somewhere. I didn't set the time, hang on. I've got to set the time so I don't want it to go more than half an hour. Okay. So Lou Elizondo appeared on one of these YouTube channels. He was wearing a 511 baseball hat. 511, you know, product placement. 511. It's a company that sells tactical wear, you know. If you want to go and hide in a shrub and play soldiers, you go there to buy your baseball hat and some other stuff. If you want to prep for the end of the world, you know, I mean, your 511 baseball hat is going to protect you from being vaporised, or from someone shooting at you with an AK-47, you know, that sort of thing. So he appeared wearing a 511 baseball cap. Product placement. I mean, this is, to be honest, this is making me want to puke. Every time I see these people, Lou Elizondo in particular, it makes me want to puke. It really does. You know, it's well overdue for the time for these guys to put up with STFU is well overdue, isn't it? You know, just listen to my science fiction stories and give me your money. That's all we ever get. He claims remote viewing ability, of course, Lou Elizondo. Personally, I don't think he could remote view his own backside with both hands and a large mirror. When he was asked about it recently, he said, "Oh, I don't want to go there." You know, he's on one of these. He's been interviewed on one of these podcasts or something, and someone said, "You still do remote viewing, Lou?" And he said, "I don't want to go there." He didn't want to talk about it. Because even Lou Elizondo is smart enough to know that if he keeps spruiking that, someone's going to ask him for a demonstration, and of course he's not going to be able to remote view anything. There's been I've had an open challenge on this channel practically since I started it, you know, 15 years ago, whatever it was. You know, for any remote viewer to accurately describe the inside of my house. You know, if you can remote view, you can remote view. I'm not interested in, oh, well, it's a bit cloudy, you know, I think you might have there might be a sofa in the lounge room, or there might be a TV, a bowl of fruit on a coffee table. You know, sort of crap you get from these psychic mediums. No such thing as psychic ability. No such thing as remote viewing. There is, prove it. Never seen any proof of psychic ability or remote viewing ability. So Yeah, Lou Elizondo doesn't want to talk about remote viewing. He doesn't want to go there because someone's going to ask him for a demonstration, and of course he's not going to be able to demonstrate his remote viewing ability because it doesn't exist. It's more science fiction rubbish. It's like the green orbs, it's like all the rest of this nonsense. Okay, so I saw this made me fall about laughing actually. Apparently there's this big bodyguard called Big Homie CC. He's a big fella, I wouldn't doubt he's a bodyguard. Now, what I do doubt is that this Sergeant Cole Wolfe apparently approached this Big Homie and said, I want you to be my bodyguard for a week. For 5 days, I want to present these top secret photographs to Congress. I'm going to testify to Congress. I'm going to show them these top secret photographs. And these top secret photographs apparently showed big structures alien structures on the dark side of the moon, big spheres, big towers, big mushrooms. And there's a photograph of a truck 2 miles long. And these photographs were so top secret that he actually showed them to Big Homie, who was only a potential bodyguard at that point. I mean, why would you show the pictures to the bodyguard? You just say to a bodyguard, I want you to look after me for 5 days. I'll pay you X amount of money. You don't need to tell the bodyguard the ins and outs of all the top secret stuff you're going to be presenting to Congress. It's ludicrous, isn't it? It's just rubbish. Absolute rubbish. So anyway, he said he paid Big Homie $52,000 to look after him for 5 days, keep him alive for 5 days so he could testify to Congress. This is according to Big Homie. Now, it occurred to me that, having a massive bodyguard, if you're a celebrity or something like that, it works, doesn't it? The big bodyguard get out of the car and, push the adoring fans back, the screaming fans, so that the celebrity can get out of the car and walk into the venue. I mean, I do the same thing myself. I get thousands of people come to see me. And I have to hire a bodyguard, just to keep all the screaming fans away that are asking for autographs and selfies. But if you're thinking that you're going to be assassinated, then having a huge bodyguard is zero use, isn't it? Because if you're an assassin, you don't give a damn about bodyguards. It doesn't matter how big you are. If someone's got a gun, the assassin will just shoot him and then shoot the target. Done and dusted, new business. Big Homie turned the contract down. It was $52,000 for 5 days, and he turned it down. Now, this Cole Wolfe apparently was out cycling. He was run over by a truck and killed in 2018. Now, all the conspiracy theorists are jumping up and down saying, oh, he was got at, they got him. Because he'd presented a talk at Stephen Greer's National Press Conference in May back in 2001, and he said he testified to Congress, testify in front of Congress under oath that this was all real, the photographs were real, and all this sort of stuff. Now, for a start, we know that testifying under oath to Congress about UAPs and all this sort of stuff is a complete and utter waste of time. We know that from the Grush, Fravor and Graves debacle, don't we? They testified under oath in front of Congress. No one believes them. No one with an IQ bigger than their shoe size believes them. They presented no tangible evidence. It's just stories. So, presenting this stuff to Congress would have been a complete waste of time anyway. Obviously, if he gave those photographs to Arrow, I would think they would be dismissed fairly quickly as, constructed photographs. I certainly wouldn't expect them to be real. I mean, the US is not the only nation to have spacecraft in orbit around the moon. I think China have done it. China have landed spacecraft on the backside of the moon, dark side of the moon, backside of the moon. India's orbited the moon, haven't they? And there's the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. You'd have to keep all of that footage from the dark side of the moon. Even one photograph to corroborate this hasn't appeared, has it? So it's complete and utter rubbish, really. And again, you know, they wouldn't wait 17 years to assassinate him. If he presented this stuff at Greer's Mickey Mouse conference back in May 2001, then, you know, why wait 17 years till 2018 to run over him with a truck? What's been happening in the meantime, you know? It doesn't make any sense. It's all rubbish, isn't it? So, you know, I want you to keep me alive for 5 days. I've got this stuff, it's so super secret that people are going to try and kill me. I need you to protect me. Just keep me alive for 5 days so I can get these pictures to Congress. I'll give you 52 grand. Oh, and by the way, here's the pictures. You know, see this one here? This is a 2 mile long truck. There's big domes here, get a little extra, you know, big mushroom buildings here, you know. Does that sound remotely plausible to you? Because it doesn't sound remotely plausible to me. Now, maybe that he did show Big Homie all this stuff. But it's not going to be super secret, is it? No one in their right mind shows someone that you haven't even hired as a bodyguard super secret stuff. It's just drivel, isn't it? And it gets worse and worse and worse, you know. It's just complete and utter rubbish, all of this stuff. So he didn't hire Big Homie. Or Big Homie turned down the contract. I can't remember which. It might have occurred to him that you know, it doesn't matter how big you are, someone's got a gun, they'll just shoot you. If there's an assassin after your target, you're just in the way. So I think we can kick that story into touch. We can forget all about what was his name, Sergeant Wolf, and his super secret pictures of the alien structures on the dark side of the moon. Complete and utter rubbish. Yep. Okay. I said there's not very much to report this week. I noticed last week, you know, the video got 67 views, went viral, really, for one of my videos. Now I looked and it was 63 views, or 62 views. Then it was 65 views. And then I looked this morning, it's back to 63 views or 62 views. How does that work? How can you have less views one day than you had the previous day on a YouTube video? Now, when you only get 60 odd views a video, this handful of views makes a big difference. It's going to put a dent in my ego. Unless it's someone watching it more than once, maybe. Maybe the algorithm takes a little bit of a time to figure out if someone's only watched it once. Sorry, if someone's watched it once and they watch it another 2 or 3 times, does that only count as one view? Yeah, I don't know. It just seems odd to me that you can have a video on YouTube, one day it's got 67 views, and the following day it's got 62 views. And then the following day it'll have 65 views, and then the day after that it'll have 63 views again. Crazy stuff, isn't it? Good job I don't do this for a living, isn't it? I was watching something the other day and I thought, how does this guy do a 2-hour video every 2 or 3 days about this bloody rubbish, you know? And the other guy that does the videos every day, some of them are quite short, understandably, but, you know, how the hell would you maintain an interest in this drivel? To put a video out every day? Yeah, I couldn't do it. Good job this is just a hobby, isn't it? I've got a day job, I don't have to produce an income from this. 67 views. I wouldn't be able to afford a bag of crisps. Okay, so Ross Coulthard was interviewing the director of SETI. And it's unusual, actually, for Mr. Coulthard to dip his toe into something realistic, something real, something tangible. And he obviously asked him if they'd heard any aliens, and the director of SETI sort of went, yeah, right, you know. No, we haven't. And Coulthard said, you know, if you had heard any aliens, would it be a secret? You know, because Coulthard, you know, surrounds himself with people that tell him, oh, yes, it's all real, but it's all super secret, you know, we can sort of give you a little snippet, we can't show you any evidence. And he's used to that, and he laps it up. He wants it all to be real. He's a fanboy. He wants to believe. He's got a book to sell on the subject. So disappointed when the guy from SETI said no. And he said, would you tell us if you had received a signal? The guy from SETI said, yeah. We're not obliged to keep it secret. we're not obliged to tell the government before we tell the public if we do detect an alien signal, a verifiable alien signal. So, you know, this, you know, and Coulthard actually sounded a bit disappointed. He says, you don't have to sign any NDAs or anything like that. And he looked pretty incredulous. No, we don't have to sign any NDAs. That's the real world. That's the real world of looking for ET, for aliens, you know, SETI, JWST. Not all this science fiction rubbish that's completely unsupported by one single scrap of tangible evidence. Yeah, as I said, you know, I see Lou Elizondo on there with his little goatee and his cap, and I can't talk about it. Oh yeah, well, it's all true. I can't talk about it though. It's classified. Well, of course, I've got my clearances, you know. It makes me want to puke. I have to keep a bucket now by the chair in the media room, just in case I come across a Lou Elizondo video of Ross Coulthard. So SETI said they're under no obligation to inform the government before informing the public. They don't have to sign any NDAs. That's the real world. So Coulthard sounded a little bit disappointed. I think he couldn't wait to get back to his fantasy world of, you know, buried flying saucers and flying saucers sticking out of the ground at 45 degrees, even though they've impacted at 1,200 miles an hour. It's drivel, isn't it? How could anybody with an IQ bigger than their shoe size believe any of this drivel? Oh, and Coulthard was, when he was talking to the SETI guy, he mentioned Fermi paradox. And I think I've mentioned this before. Fermi, I think it was in 1950, at Los Alamos. He said, well, you know, if there's aliens everywhere, why haven't we seen any? Now, Los Alamos is not far from the Roswell crash. If the Roswell crash had indeed, in fact, been an alien spacecraft, it would have been taken to Los Alamos. It wouldn't have been taken to Wright-Patterson or anywhere else. It would have been taken to Los Alamos because that's where the world's top physicist was still working after working on the Manhattan Project during the war. You know, the Roswell crash was 1947, and what, 3 years later, Fermi's saying, why haven't we seen any aliens? The Roswell crash, if in fact it was an alien spacecraft, would have been taken to Los Alamos for the world's top physicists to examine. Fermi's completely unaware of it. Fermi would have been one of the people that would have been involved in inspecting, examining, analysing the wreckage, had that been, in fact, an alien spacecraft. So Fermi's question in itself, just 3 years after Roswell, the supposed Roswell crash, the Roswell crash, tells us the Roswell crash was not an ET spacecraft, doesn't it? Fermi would know all about it if it had been an alien spacecraft. Fermi and co were working on the Manhattan Project. It doesn't get much more secret than that, does it? It all had to be kept secret. There wouldn't be a better team of guys, the world's best physicists, they've all got security oaths. There wouldn't be a better team of guys to take your flying saucer along to get it analysed. That didn't happen. Roswell was not an alien spacecraft. It's bloody obvious, isn't it? Okay, so Coulthard's used to listening to people that will tell him anything he wants to hear. He laps it up. He's a fanboy. He wants to believe. He's probably got one of those posters on his wall, you know, from Fox Mulder's office. All this rubbish comes from the X-Files. If you watch the X-Files, you know, the deep dark basements. It's all ripped straight off of the X-Files. So, you know, Coulthard is used to hearing anything he wants to hear. These people feed him all this stuff because he laps it up. They can't show him any evidence, of course, because it's all super secret, and Coulthard believes that. Wakey, Mr. Coulthard. His problem is he wants to believe too much. And, of course, he's got his book to sell. But interest in the subject is waning. rapidly. People are saying, these people were going to come forward, where are all these witnesses, where's this evidence, they wanted someone within the Pentagon set up to investigate all this. They got that, and when they got it and were told that organisation within the Pentagon, Arrow, have looked into every program and every compartment and there's nothing there, then they're not interested in hearing that, because it's not what they want to hear. It's all a cover-up, it's lies, If Arrow had said, yeah, actually, we found a program, reverse engineering ET spacecraft, told you, they would have accepted that in a microsecond, a nanosecond. But because Arrow's saying it's all rubbish, they're going, oh, yeah, I don't believe that, no, I don't believe that. There's nothing to it, is there? It's all crap. Now, the square kilometre array, this is quite interesting. The square kilometre array is being built in Australia and in South Africa. And it's going to be the biggest collection area for looking out into the galaxy, collecting radio signals from the galaxy. Now, its primary function is not SETI. It's not SETI. But it's going to be sensitive enough that it may pick up leakage from a technological civilization in the galaxy that's generating as much electromagnetic noise as the Earth, with radio broadcasts, television broadcasts, radars, loads of mobile phones, FM radio stations, all that sort of stuff. So if they, unfortunately, even though it's massive collection area, it's only going to be sensitive enough to pick up such a civilization like ours, generating as much RF noise, radio frequency noise as us, out to a distance of about 20 light years. So even with a massive instrument like that, it's not going to detect leakage from planets out in the galaxy, further out in the galaxy. Anything beyond about 20 light years, they're not going to hear it. And within 20 light years of the Earth, there's not many planets. There's probably only 2 or 3 rocky planets within habitable zones. So the chances of them detecting a technological civilization are not good. I mean, you never know. It's like the lotto, the only way to guarantee you don't win the lotto is to not have a ticket. So this big instrument, when they switch it on, may detect something, but it's going to have to be within about 20 light years. It's not going to be looking, further afield. Certainly not going to be looking at the Pleiades, Zeta Reticuli, Billy Myers, mates. Yeah. SETI, of course, are looking for much bigger signals. They're not just looking for planet leakage. They're not going to be able to detect much in the way of planet leakage. SETI, with the gear they've got, with the Allen Array and the other Project Serendipity or whatever it is, with the the extra units on top of the big radio telescopes that are looking out there, they're not going to be able to detect technological leakage as such over much of a distance. But we sent a signal from Arecibo many years ago, 3 terawatts ERP, and the guy that sent the signal, the astrophysicist that sent the signal, when he was being interviewed, he said, oh yeah, that signal will go right across the galaxy. 3 terawatts ERP, it go right across the galaxy. That's the sort of signal SETI are looking for. Narrowband with modulation, engineered signal, structured signal, but it's going to have to be a pretty powerful one. It's going to have to be pointed in our direction for them to hear it. They're not going to pick up any leakage from planets, about 20 light years away. In fact, with the collection area they've got, it's going to be considerably less than 20 light years, because the SKA can only hear stuff out to 20 light years. Then SETI are going to be really looking in the backyard, a few light years maybe. So it's going to be the Proxima system, something like that. But of course they could pick up one of these super powerful beacons or deliberate transmissions that are pointed at us, should they be there. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. There's there's not much to report this week. It's getting you know, it's getting annoying to listen to the same old rubbish. It's classified. I can't talk about it. You know, I can't provide any evidence. It's all drivel. So, you know, I'm not the only one saying this either. You know, more and more people are beginning to realise this is rubbish. You know, more and more people are saying, well, these guys were coming forward, but they're not saying anything. You know, Elizondo's not saying anything. He's saying he's been told by Al put off this. You know, he's been told that. No, he's not offering any evidence. None of them are offering any evidence. Where's the 40 whistleblowers? They haven't come forward. Where's all this evidence? It's not there. So more and more people are saying, yeah, new business. It's rubbish. You know, they've lost patience with these people. So they're saying, you know, show us some tangible evidence or STFU. Show us some tangible evidence or STFU. And I would add FFS. And I saw some absolute twaddle about MH370, you know, that plane that disappeared. I come across this fellow. He's written a couple of books about it, and I didn't know that he'd written a couple of books about it, but I'd looked at some of the stuff he presented on YouTube, and that's complete and utter rubbish as well. You know, he's gone down this sort of wacky conspiracy path where, you know, he was saying, oh yeah, well the Russians shot down MH17, you know, there was airliners, airliner after airliner flying across, you know, and they just picked out that Malaysian airliner to shoot down. And of course that's complete and utter rubbish. The airspace was closed because there was a military conflict going on below. The Malaysian plane strayed into that airspace and was shot down because they thought it was a military plane. It's just another example of how these conspiracy theorist piffle peddlers blatantly lie, are mistaken, will swallow any old rubbish, embellish, distort the facts to make it sound, to make something that is not intriguing and has a perfectly normal explanation into something that's intriguing and, you know, could be a conspiracy. And I thought that was ridiculous. Along with his Russian pulling up the carpet and getting into the avionics bay on the 777 of MH370. How ridiculous is that? Is anyone going to sit still and watch a passenger walk forward and start taking the carpet up? I don't think so. I'll be on them like a ton of bricks. After, 9/11. So would every other passenger within range, I would think. Complete and utter drivel. And then he goes on about how you could spoof the GPS and all this sort of stuff. And of course, you wouldn't need to do that. You spoof the Doppler shift to the satellite to show the plane going in the wrong direction. All you need to do is turn it off. Then no one's got any idea where it's going. It's all complete and utter rubbish. But he's probably making good money out of his books, and good luck to him. But it is all rubbish. They'll find it on the bottom of the Southern Ocean. And there'll be one of two people in the driving seat when they find it. I've named them in the past. I'm not going to do it again. As always, if you've struggled through the video all the way to this point, many thanks for watching. No Kookaburra let me down. I just missed it by seconds. It's a great sound, the Kookaburra. Never mind. Maybe I'll catch you again.